is going to be about these LiFePO4 batteries. I recently ordered these batteries online from the Jungle website, and when I received them, I immediately put them into my truck with a third battery hooked up as a system in parallel to run an inverter and run all the accessories for my truck camper. I didn't notice initially that there was any kind of problem because there was 3 batteries and one of them is a good battery. During a power outage, I realized while trying to power some things inside my home, I noticed that the system depleted very quickly and shut down. So I separated them so that I could test the batteries individually. I noticed right away this one, I have a little paint mark on it just so I can differentiate the 2 batteries. I noticed right away this one would not charge. I tried to charge it with 3 different chargers. It would not take a charge. It's sitting around 11 volts. It was varying between 10 and 11 volts. But it would not take a charge no matter how I try to charge it. And so this one I suspect is under capacity. These are 100 amp hour LiFePO4 batteries, 12.8 volts. I'm sure you can see it. They're supposed to be 100 amp hours. So one doesn't work at all, won't charge, and it's only putting out 10, 11 volts. The other one's putting out the correct voltage, but I suspect it's way under on its amp hour rating. So that's what this video is going to be about. We are going to disassemble these, try to determine why the one doesn't work, and we're going to test the other to see its actual capacity. So stick around, and we'll go ahead and break these down, pull them apart, and see what's inside. It might be full of bricks. I really don't know, but let's find out. So this is going to be the testing station, and what I'm going to do is run this air conditioner on each battery and use a stopwatch to time it. This battery is fully charged. I'll charge each one completely first. It's sitting on the charger, it's charged. We're going to hook to this inverter, 3000 watt pure sine inverter. I'm going to plug this air conditioner into the inverter, hook the inverter to the battery, and then run the stopwatch and do each battery independently. If you look at the label, 1280 watt hours, which is the same as a 100 amp hour. This says the exact same thing. And we're running this air conditioner, and it is 710 watts. That would be, I'm sure, on high, which is what I'm going to run it on to get the test done quicker. And in order to eliminate the possibility of any kind of cycling that could change, I'm going to make sure the temperature outside is roughly the same. But I'm going to, basically what I'm going to do is put it on high and put it on the lowest temperature setting so that it just runs and the compressor just stays on. The reason I'm doing it this way with just a simple stopwatch is because anybody could do this, right? So you could do this as soon as you get your battery to your house. Before you install it into your battery bank system or anything, test it individually. Fully charge it and test it individually on a known load. It could be anything. Pretty much everything is labeled with the wattage that it consumes. So you don't even really need any kind of special testing equipment. And if you have a battery that you know is good, like this one, that I know this meets its spec, right? It actually is 100 amp hour. Then you can just compare it to a known battery, right? You don't necessarily have to have all kinds of special testing stuff to do this. Got my stopwatch here. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on and start this. Oops, I got to turn on the inverter. There. Inverter kick on. AC's got power. Might actually kick on. Here we go. Get it down as low as it'll go so it won't turn off. So it's on high cool, set to 61 degrees. That's the lowest temperature. And of course I was a few seconds late starting this. Of course. There we go. But We'll just have to remember that about 5 seconds at the most. Okay. That's the inverter beeping saying the battery's low. There goes stop. Okay, there we go. So 1 hour, 32 minutes, 18 seconds. And I took, what, 2-3 seconds to start it, but I was about 1 second to stop it. So definitely close enough for this test. We just tested the Chin's battery. It has a 1,280 watt rated capacity. We had a 710 watt load on that 8,000 BTU air conditioner, and it ran the AC for 1 hour 32 minutes. So that would be like 1.5, right? I used my calculator. If I take the rated watts, which is 1,280, divided by 710, which was my load, that comes to 1.8. So it's saying, basically what that means is that battery should run a 710 watt load for 1.8 hours, is what that means. What it actually ran it for was 1 hour and a half and 32 minutes, 1 hour 32 minutes. The discrepancy is because of the inverter, right? It uses a little bit of power. So that is really, really close though, right? It's close enough. And the BMS and the battery and everything, it cuts off. It's not 100% discharged either, right? So we'll do the exact same thing with the other battery. So my next move will be to do the other battery. So I'm going to go ahead and show you all. This other battery is full. It's sitting here on the charger. That's this battery. Turn on the inverter. Starting. It's already started. I double check this. It went back exactly where it was set. High, cool, 61. Exact same setting. It's only been about 15 minutes since the other test. There we have it, folks. Proof's in the pudding. As long as everybody can see, it's 29 minutes, 40 seconds. This one, completely bad, won't charge, has about 10, 11 volts, and won't take a charge. my plan, I can show you real quick. This is just a voltage tester. I'm just going to put it on DC volts. Make sure we can see that. And if you look, it's putting out, part of the screen's a little messed up on there, but it's 10 point something volts is what it's putting out. I've tried the little trick. That's why I have my jumper cables right here. I just tried and have before tried the, you know, I think that's more for batteries that are reading like a 0 voltage, but I tried it anyway, jumping with the jumper cables off of a battery with 14 volts to like reset the BMS. That didn't work. This is the charger that I'm using. I've used this on I don't know, 4 or 5 other lithium LiFe PO4 batteries. It works perfectly. And basically all it says, no matter what you put on it, it'll just say off, as if I guess it's not connected to a load or whatever. It won't do anything. I have a Marine battery charger, Noco Genius 5 amp battery charger that works perfectly on another lithium ion battery. Tried that on here, did not work. And tried just like a smart type auto charger, and that did not work. So 3 different chargers. So this is definitely defective. There's no doubt about it. And when I tried to, I didn't contact, I guess it wasn't necessarily the manufacturer, but the seller. They basically wanted me to send them a bunch of nonsense photos and stuff with me analyzing it, instead of just taking it back and sending me another one. I do want to just take it apart and do a little visual examination and just see if maybe by chance something is loose or disconnected, or maybe if the cells are all good, then maybe I could order like a new BMS for it or something. I could get those for around 20 bucks. So I'm going to attempt to get this opened up. I know some of the older models had like screws and stuff, but this one doesn't seem to have any kind of screws or anything. Shoot, it's actually coming up easier than I thought it would. I'm just curious, you know, the fact that both of them are bad, just if they rip me off, like what's going to be in here? Well, that's the BMS just taped on. I was hoping to find like a severed wire or a loose wire just right off the bat. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. These appear to be. Guess I could just check the voltage on the back side just to be sure that somehow that's not a bad connection in the actual terminal. It's reading the same. I'm not sure if y'all can see, but 10 point something 6. So it's not. I'm gonna say it's not that. Okay, it looks like it's just kind of barely glued in. I got to get it out to be able to test each cell, but I'm definitely thinking just off the bat it's going to be this BMS because I can. It doesn't look like it's full of bricks or anything like that, right? That's kind of it looks like it's an actual battery. But let me see if I can get this out of here. Okay, she does not want to come out of there. Yeah, they got it glued in the bottom. I did nothing. Man, this is kind of an issue. Sucker, it's glued down in the corner. What I ended up doing was drilling a hole here. That's the glue, what you're seeing. That's the bottom edge of this box. But then there's a whole nother bottom on the inside, right? The bottom, it's glued in. So I ended up driving a screwdriver into this hole with a hammer and had to do the same thing on both ends. I was thinking about cutting the whole thing out, and I thought, well, shoot, all I need is a hole I can pry. So if I get it working, I could use this box, right? So anyhow, I've got it loose. So let's try and lift this out. See, I got it loose. Oh, it's loose. It's just, I might have to literally dump this out. I just don't want to bust the, but it doesn't work. There it goes. Aha! So here's inside the box. I guess it was just to glue at either end, right where I drilled it though. Just money in. See any loose? Just look for anything loose or broken right off the bat, and then we'll check some voltage on the cells. I think that's the negative side going up to the BMS, I guess. I think they alternate. Let's see, but nothing. It's supposed to be 3 some odd volts per cell. It's just a negative here. That's definitely 3.something5. See, you got a bar connecting that, a bar connecting that, and a bar connecting that. That would be the same as reading the end of the leads. That's the 10.something9. To test each cell. 3. So I would call that good. Granted, this is all connected. That's reading the same. Here, no. Let's see, this is technically backwards. It just throws up the negative, telling me I'm backwards. Alright, so this one will be this way. So does that mean this cell's bad? What is this tape? What is this? Probably a thermometer of some sort. Okay, so negative, positive. Does that mean negative then? Yep. Positive. So they alternate. Does that mean flipped each pack? Obviously this is a plus. That's a plus. I'm pretty sure the next one's a minus. They're reversing. Yeah, so this is a negative. And this should be a positive. That's obviously a negative there. That's negative. So the other side would just be the opposite of that. Each one has 3 volts. That's 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah. I think that's how it works, right? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, each one of these blue rectangles is considered a cell or a set of cells. I'll say each one puts out a little over 3 volts, or maybe 3.5 volts. So you get 3 volts on each cell, and then they just connect them. So 3, 6, 9, 12. Was that connected in series, I think? To get 12 volts out of these little 3-volt battery packs. Pretty sure it's how this works. I think it's got a bad cell. I think that cell is bad. You're just connecting the negatives and the positives, alternating to get 12 volts. I think this is bad. because this is the only one. It reads 0.7. So here's what I'm going to do. I got a bad cell, I think, right here. So what I'm thinking I could do to confirm is take apart the other one, that's the 1/3 capacity, and check and see if each cell measures, which in my mind it has to, if I actually have the 3 volts on each cell on the other battery. If that's the case, I could take one of the cells out of the other battery, replace this bad battery, and in theory maybe end up with one 100 amp hour battery instead of one 33 amp hour battery. It's best I can tell, these cells are just glued together and there's tape around it, and then they're shoved into here and glued into this plastic housing. I feel like I can literally just pull these bolts, slide the end off, separate the cells. This doesn't work anyway, so I will do that first just to make sure that I can change the cell. And as long as I can change the cell, I'll open up the other battery. I took a picture so that I know where to put these little BMS connections back. Let me mark, because these are just identical and they go back to the same place. So I'm just going to mark which one's here and take another photo. There's a huge hurricane coming, and I should probably be doing other things, but I guess my theory was that I could maybe use this. I might end up moving to the west. There's a really bad, or it's not bad yet, but they're predicting it's going to be the worst one of this year, and it's headed this way right now. I thought maybe I could use this if I travel to the west or whichever direction. I could use this extra battery for my journey. It's pretty thin. Is that copper? Doesn't look like it. Maybe brass. Oh, cool. That came right out. That's good. As of now, there's literally nothing connecting these cells. I'm definitely no battery expert. Just thought it was interesting. Shoot, now I can see the negative and positive. Let's see if I was right. Am I? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. That's cool. These are actually marked. So there we go. I know my screen is messed up, but you can still see it has 3 point. That's all that matters. This is the one that I think is bad. I'm going with I'm right. I think it's a bad cell. There's no voltage on it. So I'm going to just use my paint marker to just mark it in 2 places. It's this one, put a big X. Perfect. And this end slide off. Top on that. So let me cut that tape. There we go. So this is the, glad I put the X. So this is the bad boy. Just break that down. I don't know if I'll do all that, but that seems pretty durable. Okay, so I guess my next move would be to disassemble the other battery into, there's 4 cells and it's supposed to be 100 amp hours, so each cell is supposed to equal 25. Right, so each of these is supposed to equal 25 amp hours. So I guess in that theory, if I move the other one, if I move one of the cells from there to here, it might make it work, but it doesn't mean it's going to have 100 amp hours of capacity, because obviously, at least in the other battery, each cell does not have 25 amp hours of capacity, or it would have 100 amp hours. That means I could go to all that trouble and basically have the same 33 amp hours that I have in the other battery would just now be in this battery, because just because these are putting off 3 volts does not mean they have 25 amp hours of capacity each. This is the other battery. It was in my truck for my camper. Check that video out if you hadn't seen it. It's actually a cool camper. Kind of got a whole video on that. Check it out. Let's take this apart. And like I said, so worst case, I do all this. This is the one. This is rated at 100 amp hours, but I've done a test on it, and it's actually only about 33. Yeah, so this one's fine, 13.7, just a low capacity. Destroying stuff. I'll bring y'all back when I get it took apart. 3 point whatever, but it is showing voltage on that second one, the 3 point, it looks like 3.19. It's the second digit. Doesn't light up sometimes on this. Might just be a low battery, I'm not sure, but I can't keep track or keep up with all the broken crap. 3.19 and 3 point something 3. So, okay, fine, every cell has the proper voltage, but it does not have the proper amp hour capacity. And I think I said this earlier, to get 100 amp hours, you would need to get 25 amp hour capacity out of each one of these cells. So obviously, I don't know if it would just be one of the cells or all the cells, or there's something defective in here as well. So the only way that I can really do it is basically take a cell out of here, put the other battery back together with the one that's marked bad taken out, and then check the capacity. A little over 10, no, a little under 10. So is each one of these cells manufactured a little under 10, or would it have to be? It has to be more than one cell when you think about it, because they're supposed to be 25 amp hours each. I'm ending up with about 33 total. So it has to be more than one defective cell. So maybe each cell is just like 9 or something. Yeah, it sucks. So that kind of diminishes my hopes, because I feel like I'm going to replace it but still have an insufficient amp hour, because it has to be more than one defective cell. Because if all of these were 25 and say one of them was just 5, well then you would obviously have, that would be an 80 amp hour battery. So in order for this to end up at 33, it has to be at least 3 bad minimum, because if one was 25 and then the next one was less than 25, so at least 3 of them are underrated. And it's possible. What do I have, 8 total between the 2 batteries? Maybe they're all underrated. I don't know. So I guess it'll just be a big experiment of testing it. So let me get one out and put a battery together. Okay, I've tried to get organized here on the table. I labeled everything from, I'm calling the other one a 33 amp hour, from the 33 amp hour. So this cell is from the 33 amp hour battery, marked as 100 amp. Kind of separated everything. This is the one that didn't work because it had a bad cell. This cell is from the battery that did work but was only 33 amp hours. So now I'm going to attempt to put this cell into this battery, get it all put together, and then test and see what the actual amp hour capacity is. Here's the, kind of separated them. This is the 33 amp hour. So everything is just marked on this side. 33 amp hour. just to keep it kind of organized. Here's the case, all the hardware and everything else is inside of there. The bad cell's over here, and this is the case and the hardware for the one that didn't work. So let's throw it together like this and then make sure I've got them oriented correctly. So negative, positive, negative, positive. So that is how it was. So let's see, this is going to kind of slide into here. We just did the test. It ran, this battery ran the air conditioner for 29 minutes and 40 seconds. So let's just call it 30 seconds for simplicity, or I'm sorry, 30 minutes. It's off by 20 seconds. Call it 30 minutes for simplicity's sake. And then remember, the Chin's battery ran the air conditioner for 1 hour 32 minutes. So just call that an hour and a half for simplicity, right? Just so you see where it's a third. 30 minutes versus an hour and a half, that's a third of its rated capacity. So that would be like 33 amp hour. Comparing it to the Chin's, if you'd rather do it the other way, you could say it ran a 710 watt load for 30 minutes, and it should run it for 1.8 hours, right? Because 1280 watts divided by 710 equals 1.8. So it should run this load for 1.8 hours, but you have to factor in the wattage used from the inverter. That's why we actually end up with 1 hour and 32 minutes of runtime. So no matter how you slice it, if you want to do it by comparing it to that battery or just using the wattage load. And remember, I did this on a completely different load and had the exact same results. And remember, so now this is telling you though that all the cells, because remember, this only has one. This was the battery that would not charge. We took it apart. It had a bad cell. That's why it wouldn't charge. But you have to remember, other than that, I had never tested the cells. The other battery, let me just carry it over here. This was the one that wouldn't work at all. We took it apart. It had a bad cell. This battery, not on camera, I had tested it multiple times and come up with the 1/3 capacity, or roughly 33 amp hour, roughly, or real close to that. So we took one cell out of this battery and put it in this battery. That's the test we just did. This battery is exactly as it came, except it had one cell from this battery was put into this one. All this sounds crazy, but the point is that after doing that, we ended up with the exact same capacity. So what it tells me is every single one of their cells, all 4 that were in this battery and all 4 that were in this battery, are exactly the same, except the fact that one of them didn't work at all. I had no voltage. But as far as capacity, they're all the same, which would have to be right around 8 amp hours of capacity for each one of these cells. So the question, was I scammed? I would say 100% I was scammed. I paid $400. I was supposed to have 200 amp hours of capacity, and I ended up with 33 total. One battery didn't work. One battery had 33. I moved the crap around. I get the same result. I believe fully that the manufacturer was aware of that. I guess they could argue that. They could do whatever the heck they want. But keep in mind, when you order one of these batteries, I wouldn't order this brand if it was me. I would go with the Chin's. But no matter what brand you order, I would do a test on it immediately when I get it, like the very first day. Well, you might need time to charge it, but as soon as you can charge it and then test it, do it. Also, some of my buddies have gotten some cheap ones, and even some of the compact 100 amp hour ones. and they say, I didn't personally check them, but they say that they meet the the actual rated amp hour capacity. So anyway, good luck out there. Thank you for watching. One last time, because this has just gotten out of hand, but this is both batteries all piled up right here. Over here is the original bad cell. I'm going to run through and show you that now I've discovered there's actually two bad cells. There's a bad cell, the charger won't work. So 2.17 volts on that cell. And then 3.13. That's just a defect in the screen there. Got it backwards, but 3.something4. Anything 3 point whatever, it seems to be fine. Let's see. Okay, so that battery, we just tested the whole battery. The one cell on the top is now testing bad. Good. 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 And then you'll see this one. Make sure I can see. So, and then this is the original bad one. I'll move over here just to make sure I can see. And it tests like 0.12 to, it's kind of all over the place, but obviously way under. So, moral of the story, this is just a complete pile of garbage is what it is.